Good Friday morning to you. It is July 14th, 2023. It's time for your weekend edition going in. Well, I guess we're almost in the weekend. It's going to be the weekend soon. But anyway, it's in the weeds here on Fightful Overbooked. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. We have a very good show for you tonight, this morning, afternoon. My brain is frazzled. So clearly, I got nothing left to give. Jeremy Lambert's here. How you doing, Jeremy?
I hope you got something to give, Joel. We got 2 hours of a show to get to. It's a big show, by the way. For some reason, not Paul White, but for some reason, we're just letting Detroit Red Wings players on this show. Not even like the actual players are just allowed to be on this show all of a sudden. What is this?
We owe it to fans of all places, cultures, creeds, and beliefs to have the very best guests that we can have on this program. So when Impact Wrestling decided that Darren McCarty should be the special guest enforcer on Saturday's Slammiversary show for one of their big matches, and then not only that, McCarty's going to step into the ring the next night with Tommy Dreamer as his tag partner to take on Champagne Singh and Shira. You got to talk to those people, Jeremy Lambert. Those people are very important to the wrestling world. Doesn't matter where they came from. And when, like I said, on the internet, when Kel McCarr joins AEW, faces Cole Carter, then we'll have Kel McCarr on the show. How's that?
And could you imagine if we got Kel McCarr on this show? You'd have to do the whole interview. I'd just be like fawning over him the entire time.
You'd be like Donald Glover on damn
Community.
I did it again.
Yeah.
You'll just be staring daggers at the wall. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, just could not get a word out or anything. Just looking. Kel McCarr, beautiful man, by the way, and a very talented and skilled hockey player, and arguably the best defenseman. Not arguably on my book, the best defenseman in the league. Yeah, he's too good to do some wrestling stuff. I don't know if Kel McCarr is a wrestling fan. It'd be great if he was. It'd be awesome. Darren McCarty, you could see that transition. Like, he was a tough guy in the NHL, right? That was his role. Him, guys like Marty McSorley. If Marty McSorley ended up being, a big time wrestling person, I could see that. Even Claude Lemieux, to an extent, I could see that. Kale that's a finesse skill player. I don't know if he's getting his knuckles dirty. I could see McKinnon doing it. McKinnon's got a mean streak. He's throwing helmets at people and stuff like that. McKinnon's got a little bit of a mean streak to him. I can maybe see that. But Kale, he's too pure. Too pure of a man to be in the world of professional wrestling.
I feel like one of the questions you're going to ask Darren is which other NHLers would make it as wrestlers.
I'm going to ask him that. I'll ask him that. I'm going to tell him that I did not like him as a kid. My wife is very concerned for this interview. She is like, you're going to get yourself into trouble. You're going to get a hockey player coming after you, and this is not going to end well for you. I already know you're going to try to get me beat up, which is fair. I try to get you beat up by all the wrestlers, so it's only right that you try to get me beat up by a hockey player. The difference between us, Joel, is that I know this is coming, and I'm accepting that this is coming. Like I got the jersey on. I got the Peter Forsberg is the GOAT in the title, in the headline there. I'm egging this on. But here's the thing, Joel. Here's the thing. I'm gonna get him 5 minutes I'm not gonna get the instigator penalty. I'm gonna get him 5 for fighting, not the ban, and I'm only gonna get the 2 because I'm gonna egg him on and act like he's gonna drop the gloves and he's gonna be ready to go, and I'm still gonna have the gloves on. Gloves are still gonna be on for me. And in hockey, when this happens, is like the guy who like drops the gloves and is like throwing and stuff, they get the 5, they get kicked out of the game. The guy who might be like baiting and stuff, they still got, but they keep the gloves on. They don't throw those punches. 2 minutes. I'm going to get the 2-minute penalty. I'm getting Darren kicked out of the game.
Well, don't get kicked out of our game, and instead leave a thumbs up while you're here on Fightful Overbooked, and leave a sub, because guess what? We're on our way to a big milestone as well. we are also going to get to 100,000 subscribers someday. Stop laughing. It could happen. Anything could happen, Jeremy Lambert. Anything. If you haven't figured it out yet, Darren McCarty, former Red Wings enforcer, is going to be joining us at 10:15 a.m. So in about 8 minutes time, if you're watching us live here on Fightful Overbooked, very excited for that. And if you want to support us here on Fightful Overbooked beyond the ways I mentioned, you can also send us a super chat. It's that little $sign on the bottom of your screen here in the chat on youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked. Ryan Lambert gets us started saying, sadly, I can't stay. Y'all have a lovely weekend. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, Ryan. I hope we all have a fun weekend ahead. It's a busy weekend, Jeremy. You've got SmackDown tonight. You have AEW Collision. You have AEW Battle of the Belts right after that. It's the first time AEW is doing 3 full live hours of TV. You've got, for the Lucha Libre enthusiasts, you have Triple Mania from AAA in Tijuana. That sounded worse than it was supposed to. And you've got Impact Wrestling Slammiversary on Saturday as well. Saturday night alone is going to be all right for fighting.
Saturday is a big night. I look forward to it mostly. It'll be good. The Slammiversary looks good. There's some matches I'm looking forward to. Some I could kind of take away. Collision's gonna be. It's been wrestling heavy. This looks like it's most wrestling heavy. I imagine Punk and Starks will get a lot of time. I imagine Ruby against either Athena or Willow will get a lot of time. And then that tag title match it's 2 out of 3 falls. You know, they got 30 minutes last week in a regular match. Like they legitimately might push 45, 50 minutes in this match. So it's going to be a very wrestling heavy show on Collision.
Originally, I thought that tag match was going to be part of Battle of the Belts, but clearly not. And
it'd be the whole Battle of the Belts. Can we spoil the Battle of the Belts line? Do people care that much about Battle of the Belts?
Okay, I mean, I'll preface this with everything for Battle of the Belts that wasn't the TNT title match basically got set up on the tapings for Rampage. So with what is effectively 24 hours notice, that is how we're setting up Battle of the Belts. So
if anything, they should be thankful that we're spoiling it right now because we're giving it more promotion.
That's fair. Because
technically, they would not be promoting this thing until 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night when Rampage airs, and we're telling you what the card is right now. So I think we should be allowed to say what's on Battle of the Belts. If you don't want to know, mute, do this or something.
Well, I mean, if you're wearing headphones, maybe don't do this and cover your ears. It'll just make it louder.
It'll get you a little bit louder.
If you're wearing headphones, just take them off. Don't listen. But don't tune out because we need the viewership really bad. Yeah.
So Battle of the Belts. They announced Luchasaurus and for defending the TNT title against Shawn Spears. That actually had a week of a setup because Spears was on Collision the other week and kind of challenged him. The other matches, we got Lance Archer, who he's on TV sometimes, I think.
Again, back from Japan.
Yeah, he's gonna face Orange Cassidy for the International Championship, and I know Orange Cassidy has the Open Challenge gimmick. That's fine. Like, okay, sure. But then we got Toni Storm and Taya Valkyrie for the women's title. And I get it. It's in Canada. Have Taya there again. She still should have been part of the Owen tournament in my mind. But man, she just lost 3 TBS title matches. And now she just gets a women's title match.
And she's a heel. I don't care that you're in Canada. Keep it up.
Is she?
She's supposed to be. After the whole stuff, she effectively turned heel. She was beating people up and saying, I'm better than everyone.
Oh, I guess. I just thought of her I thought of her against Jade because she was a babyface during that. But yeah, I guess. It's just not good, right?
No, it's not. It's a really bad call. When I read it, I was sitting there just looking and reading. I'm like, why? Why to everything on this card? I mean, it's clear as day that Battle of the Belts is not of any importance. if they change that international championship and give it to Lance Archer after everything that they've built for Orange Cassidy in that championship, I will have questions, Jeremy. So many questions.
I don't think they are. I don't think they're going that route, because here's the thing. I think they, whether subconsciously or not, they realize Battle of the Belts ain't much of anything. And it hasn't been, if we're being honest about things. The time slot hasn't been consistent. Sometimes it's on after Rampage. Sometimes it's on before Rampage. Nothing's been consistent with Battle of the Belts. There's only been, and I tweet this after every single Battle of the Belts because it kind of pops me at this point. There's only been 2 title changes. We're at 7 Battle of the Belts now. There's been a title shot, or there's been a title match on every single card. There's been like 3 title matches every single Battle of the Belts. There's only been 2. Sammy. He won the vacant interim whatever when he beat Dustin because Cody wasn't there. And then I think he beat like Scorpio on the show. It's only oh man, Joel, I'm about to get beat up. So there's only been 2 title changes on Battle of the Belts the entire time. So that's what this show is about.
Do you want to introduce the man who's probably?
Nah, you got to do it. You got to do it, Joel. I'm ready though. I'm here.
You're gonna put him up. You're gonna put up.
I got we got the 2022 Stanley Cup champion hat as well. I'm here.
You're asking for
ready.
It. Oh man, this Saturday night, this man is the special guest enforcer for a match between Bully Ray and Diener and Scott D'Amore and a mystery partner. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Former NHLer, the enforcer, the man, Big Mac himself from the Detroit Red Wings. Darren McCarty joins us now on the show.
Listen,
hello,
Jeremy. Now I realize, why everybody hates you. But I mean, no. But in all honesty, you're rocking a Forsberg, and a Forsberg.
Oh, see, look at that. My guy Fopa's got. Oh, there we go.
Sorry. I mean, that's my people blowing up my stuff. Do you believe that Jeremy's wearing and dissing you like that? So you heard that the discard just went up, and I was telling him to relax. Because here it's just like at the end of the day, it's okay, dude. I got 3, you got 2, we won. I mean, that's how we keep track. But yeah, no, a lot of props. And I tell everybody my Peter Forsberg story. I hit Peter Forsberg. He's carrying the puck through the neutral zone, and I hit him with his head down, knocked the wind out of both of us. I mean, he was as solid. He used to do the Datsuki in reverse shoulder before.
Oh,
but I got no props. I got no bad blood with Colorado. Just go to Unrivaled ESPN. You can see all the, DarrenMcCarty.com. You can see all that past. Instead, I got bigger things. I got drug into, this is what happens when you're from the Windsor area, Essex County, and you're asked to sort of commandeer something that's way bigger than me. Like, I'm just going to be there, right? And as the guest referee, I got no dog in this fight, as we've heard all over social media and all over Busted Open or wherever, we listen to, like, what's it saying? This is personal between D'Amore and Bully we've watched it on our televisions over, 6 months. Now the Cody Diener stuff is real too. That goes back to TNA. So I'm just there because I guess I know a little bit about rivalries and being in when the fire gets a little hot. So I think, guys, the big question is does anybody speculate on who Scott D'Amore's partner is? Because if it's who I guess that it is, it's gonna be fireworks galore. Let's just say we're bringing the Essex County, Kent County, Southern Ontario vibes to your living room.
So before we recklessly speculate on who that's going to be, and we will get to that, this really all started. I mean, your wrestling career has been for a few years, but this stuff with Impact really kicked off at Impact Sacrifice back in March. How did that whole thing come together? How did you find yourself beyond the barricade at Impact?
Minding my own business, as I usually am, guys. I'm not a wrestler. I don't want to do it, but I will. And it's just because I was sitting there with my buddies enjoying it. And then, by the way, my buddy Ray Bully still owes him a beer because he took his beer and decided to wash me with it and face wash me with it. So I don't know. Well, I'm Canadian, so we got something about doing that in front of, in our hometown. And I didn't think I'd get away with it. I didn't think he was man enough to let me in the ring. So how many people can say that they've got to slap Bully Ray upside the head a few times? Now, I did go through a table. That's, rubbin's racing, as they say in the in NASCAR. So I mean, like, if you know anything about me, you're gonna get me. Like, that's inevitable, but I'm gonna get you too. So I'm gonna get mine in. And so I'll be smarter than that. Bully Ray's like Claude Lemieux to me, right? When you're on the ice or in the ring, don't turn your back or you're an idiot, right? We know. So, I mean, it is what it is. So, hey, put it this way: I've been put through a lot more tables in front of a lot less people.
You mentioned that you're not a wrestler, but you will be wrestling on. They've announced this in 2 weeks on Impact, and then you also do some stuff with ICW No Holds Barred. So like you are wrestling, Darren.
No, I'm not a wrestler, but I will do it. Right, where I will get in there and do it. But I got a band, and I'm not a musician, and I do comedy, and I'm not a comedian. I'm an entertainer, so I'll get in there and entertain any way I can. But no, I think the number one thing, guys, and I appreciate you, coming on. I'm a big fan of Fightful and what you guys do, and even because, as Jeremy, love what you love, right? Love who you love. I'm a storyline guy. Right. So I don't have to like it, but it's got to make sense. If I can put the pieces together. So, yeah, I'm around it enough. My son, the lovable psychopath, Tommy Vendetta, who people on the independent scene, and if you follow ICW and stuff, making a name for himself, be out and about there. So he's out west with Circle 6 and stuff this weekend. So, I mean, I end up by myself and I end up guest refereeing. So I've been in the ring. I do that stuff. But again, I guess, Jeremy, my point, and Josh or Joel, is the fact that I don't want to, but I will.
I get it. I really
do. Now, yeah. But here's the whole thing, right? You're talking about getting in the ring and Raj Singh and his partner, but I got Tommy Dreamer. So whenever I feel like, whenever I'm old enough, I'm grateful enough to have Tommy Dreamer, good or whether that's good or bad, as a friend, so I can lean on him. I know that, some of my other friends go, he goes, Tommy doesn't win. And I'm like, I know, but he survives. And I'm a survivor too. So you know what? I go with wherever Tommy takes me. Sometimes we have a conversation at the end of it going, what the? And he goes, I know. And it's like, okay, let's not do that again. So we'll see if that's that way after this weekend.
Okay, so you're familiar with Stanley Cups. I want to know what's the Stanley Cup of wrestling for you? What's your ultimate goal, even as an entertainer? Because we're talking about, you do a lot of different things, but you're not specifically that thing. So what is that ultimate goal for you?
So there's two motivations for me. And that's the Princess Penelope Lou in the background making her appearance. It's if anybody knows my story, I'm almost 8 years clean and sober, and it's through having an option, and cannabis is a big part of my recovery. I have a Darren McCarty cannabis brand that, and like I see here, like topicals, for pain and relief and stuff like this. Being able to, the CBDs, the CBNs, the stuff, the education. I lived through the opioids, the alcohol and stuff like this. For me, it's about options. It's about passion. So really my end goal is that people know that they have an option and there's someone around that is about that for this plant. Right. And it's nothing other than that. And so for the wrestlers and the fans and and guys that are sick and tired of being sick and tired, there is an option. That's one. Another thing too, it's not about me. It's about, with Tommy Vendetta or Malcolm Monroe III, were the Pillars of Michigan, or my tag team Midwest Scum, the Dread King Logan or Grimy Zach Thomas. It's their passion. I see that I had to get where I needed to go, and I just want to be able to sort of help in any way with a front row seat, being a wrestling fan, and sort of be able to be, sort of behind the curtain, but not having to do all of it, like having to be fully immersed in it, but to be a fan and to respect it. It's the best of both worlds. So I think from being around, everybody understands that, I'm just around, and I'm about, the good things about wrestling, the love and the respect, and helping people not only not have to suffer when they know that they have options with the plant. I can be that person for education, so that you don't have to suffer through other things. That's the one. And then just following everybody else's passion, and then being a fan. I mean, think about it, guys. Think about it, right? This is Slammiversary. Okay, I'll be watching, or because it's next door, I'd be where I was last time. But instead, I get to be on the other side of it as a guest enforcer. Doesn't get any better than that. This is my, I guess you say, your WrestleMania moment. But so was going through a table, and so was being able to pin John Schuyler after hitting him with a D-Mac Stoner, which is a punch to the gut, instead of a kick, because I can't get my leg up like that. That's not a hockey move. But to be able to be in there in a triple tag, just to be a part of it. That's what it is, where I'm at in my life and stuff. So I just want to be a positive influence wherever I go. And sometimes where you have to go is in the OK Corral, where there's going to be some gunfighting and stuff like that. So my job is that everybody gets out alive. So there's going to be some beatings. There's probably going to be some bloodshed. There's going to be some feelings hurt. But this is history, and it's sort of like that, the Hatfields and McCoys, and we're going down to it, and I got the best seat in the house.
I do want to recklessly speculate on the partner, but when you mention talking to guys backstage and following their careers and stuff, you had a long NHL career, and you've been through not only on the ice, but just personally, like ups and downs and everything. Do wrestlers come to you and ask about like how basically to not let the lows get you too low and not get the highs too high? Because you've won multiple Stanley Cups, you also lost it in series and everything, and it's like, oh, how do we bounce back from this? Or how do we do this again, win another Stanley Cup? So do wrestlers talk to you about that kind of stuff?
I'm very fortunate that, I have great relationships with a lot of the different wrestlers. So it depends on who they are. But, I'm an open book, and that's the one thing is that, I wrote a book in 2012, My Last Fight, True Story of a Hockey Rock Star. I mean, I've been through bankruptcies, divorces, gambling, alcohol, everything like that. My sobriety date's 11/11/15, and by the grace of God, and finding the being able to love myself. It's all about self-awareness. So I'm willing for a conversation. The one thing that I know, listen, D-Mac, right? D-Mac, who's the hockey, is the wrestler. I've been playing a wrestler my whole life. I've been playing a character that I've known who D-Mac was since I was 6 years old. It took me to be 46 until I realized who Darren McCarty was, right? So even though I'm not a wrestler, I've lived a character, D-Mac, the hockey player, that you as an Avalanche fan hate. Right, for that character to be able, because when the puck drops, there is a certain level of wrestler that comes out in D-Mac. Now, today I'm Darren McCarty. Unfortunately, I gotta in the ring pull out D-Mac again, probably, but I'm prepared for that for when it happens. So I'm here for anybody that has questions on life, and bottom line, just wants to be better. Didn't know they have options, and just look for my perspective. I say enjoy my truth, and I'm very grateful around, because I get some great perspective from people who have lived the wrestling life. And it's just all about, surrounding yourself with good people. At the end of the day, you're either an asshole or you're not.
So you're talking about becoming DMAC again in the ring and having to enforce this coming Saturday at Slammiversary. I got to ask then, what's easier, throwing a punch with or without skates on?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Well, that's a loaded question because people don't understand as I box during the off season. So I'm like technically amateur, boxer to learn it, but throwing a punch on the ice for us, like our grace or mine at least is that like I can fall down skating by myself from one end of the ice, but you put me in a fight with somebody and it turns into a ballerina. I gotta say it's easier throwing a punch on the ice. It's more natural. But that's the one thing too, is that like somebody asked me, "Oh, do you throw wrestling punches?" And I was like, "What's that?" I don't know. Like, no, I'm gonna throw a punch, and you know what? You're either gonna be smart to get out of the way and not let it hurt, or not. So, I got Jason Hotch. I got one of the good hands, real good, real good. He's still you know what? He's from around the area, and I ran into him at a show, and he just went, yeah, and I went, yeah, you know it. So I know where the button is.
Let's talk about Slammiversary and this match, the no holds barred match where you are the special enforcer. Scott D'Amore does not have a partner right now. Impact ended last night where he said he wanted somebody who can come back from the dead. Who are you thinking here, Darren? Who do you think that's going to be besides Scott D'Amore on Saturday?
Like, you don't really, do I got to be the one? Because immediately, do I got to be the guy to read between the lines of the narrative? I told you I love the storyline. So how far do I have to peel back? Oh my God. Cody Deaner ever killed a guy? Did he ever kill a Canada guy? Did he ever kill one of my favorite guys ever in wrestling? Eric Young, maybe? Because you think it'd be EY?
Wait a minute.
Could you imagine?
You mean it's not Taya Valkyrie coming back from the undead realm? They've trapped her in there.
Or there you go. You don't even know. That'd be badass. Could you imagine coming back? So that's my guess. I still think PCO, I mean, I get it. PCO is like that truck on your farm, your grandpa's farm, that like it has to have 1,000,000 miles on it and it won't die. That's PCO. I know they got him with, stuff down his throat and lit him on fire, but he might still be around. But I would say, like, if writing on the wall, going to history and stuff, I'm hoping maybe that's it. Maybe I'm wishing too much that it'd be Eric Young. And then somebody told me he's under contract somewhere, and so that burst my bubble, but I don't want to believe it.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I was saying, I think it's a good bet on Eric Young.
Who would you guys say?
Teased it, but what's that?
Who do you guys think?
I think Eric Young makes the most sense. I don't know quite what his WWE status is. That's where he was signed to, returned, but we have not seen him in any capacity there. So maybe he has gotten out of that deal and is able to do this because somebody was died. Deaner's on the other side. Then the Team Canada jersey there. Kind of all aligns for Eric Young here.
Yeah, it all comes together. Hey, we're going to find out on Saturday at Slammiversary. It's an exciting moment. The show's going to be fantastic. Looking forward to that this Saturday, July 15th at Windsor's St. Clair College, I should say. Tickets are still available. Go check them out. Slammiversary is going to be a fun show. We'll have a post show on Fightful.com. Myself and Steven Jensen will be doing this. I have one last question, Darren, for you.
Yes, sir.
What other NHLers would make good or great professional wrestlers?
Yeah, the first one that comes to mind, I always like George The Rock. I always like some of the tough guys. My guy behind me, Bob Probert, would have been the best professional wrestler as far as that, but he lived the gimmick. So God rest his soul. You know, George Larac, Jeremy Roenick, that's he'd be more in the Miz, you know, style. Like but just could do everything, you know, nickname styles and stuff like that. A guy that I just 100,000,000%, Andre Waugh, who won a cup with Tampa Bay, you know, tough guy around, one of the funniest human beings. So he'd have everybody in stitches and stuff like that. I think hockey players, not only because of what's required physically or and the athletic ability of them, but like they're characters. We have a lot of characters in hockey. As you can see, if you watch Letterkenny or Shores here, it's not far off. You know what I'm saying? It's a little stretch, but not far off from the culture grown up in. So the best one would have been Proby. He would have been the best because man, the more that he got into it, the more into the match, the longer he had that flare gas tank that he just got better, or steamboat. You know, okay, 40 minutes, you ready to do it now? Get out of here. So Pro would have been the best one ever.
I got a super question from Ryan, and then I do have more hockey wrestling related questions. But Ryan asked stereotypical sports reporter question. Hey Darren, who do you think gets more beat up, hockey players or wrestlers?
Oh, on the daily, wrestlers 100%. Every time they're gonna go to a game or into the ring or whatever, they got to be bumping or selling or doing something, and that's their plan, is to come out scot-free and not hurt, although they'll do moves that they know that's going to hurt in the morning. Hence saying, oh, let's pull out a table, let's pull out a chair, right? So by far, you know, wrestlers, and that's, you know, along the same lines as hockey players too, every game and stuff, being physical and having to hit. I just don't, you know, I'll tell you this. Here's the answer to the question. Hockey players for sure get taken care of a lot better than what wrestlers do. And that's one of the things that's so important. And here's the one thing with my brand and everything else, the topical or whatever, to make you feel better. It's not I'm not being nice. I'm such a sick wrestling fan that I know that the better that you feel out of the ring will make you do crazier stuff inside the ring and entertain me more. So actually I win. So it's all about, you know, so I think that we and the wrestling injuries, because how many times you see this and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's not my nagging elbow that I constantly run it into somebody, right? I fell off the top rope here. Now I got this, and I never even knew I had a muscle here, or what? That's wrestling. Hockey, you injure the same sort of thing over and over again.
Darren, when did you get into wrestling? Because I like knowing your career and everything, like mid 90s, the Avs Red Wings rivalry doesn't like align with like what was going on at wrestling right then. It was a lot of over the top kind of silly cartoon characters in the midnight, and then the Attitude Era got a little bit more blood and guts. But I can see you being like Terry Funk, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair era. So am I off base with that, or when did you get into wrestling?
No, watched it, but Stone Cold. So when Stone Cold came around, when he slammed the Zamboni into the ring, that was at Joe Louis Arena. When we got to meet, you know, sort of all those guys, and I'm very fortunate. Like, I've been friends with like Chris Jericho for a long time, and you know, get to meet guys along the way, stuff like this. But it was Stone Cold. I used to I still do. I call it Stone Cold. You know, I run around with Stone Cold. Everybody who knows me, I have 316 shirts, you know, or 313 D-Max shirts or whatever it is. But he was Stone Cold. My teammate Matthew Dandino was The Rock. You know, and we used to wrestle all the time. And then we used to make one of our other teammates, Mike Knuble, we used to make him be Mankind, and we'd hit him with chairs, and you know, we'd attack him, you know, out of the blue in the dressing room and stuff. So we were big. I've been on some back in the day, I got to break a hockey stick over Bob Holly to protect D'Lo Brown in one of the Monday Night Raws or whatever like that. So I've always been around it. I lived down in Clearwater for like 6 years after retirement. So good buddies with Sean Waltman, and Kevin Nash has been a good friend from here, and knowing a lot of the local guys, but just never been around until like and sort of been a fan, right? Like all of us, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. But it wasn't until COVID that I really got into. And I always been like, I shouldn't say that because ECW is always my jam, right? Like ECW, that's the ECW is the rivalry, right? Like, I mean, that's the, and Van Dam being from here, but you bring it like Tommy Dreamer, the perennial baby face, and I could, relate to him and stuff like this. And then Sabu being around here and just the Sandman and just the carnage, right? That all that you knew that was coming. Danny D'Amato told me something that I love. Sweat and blood tell different stories. And I like the stories with the blood in them because just like hockey, I like the commitment. But unlike MMA, where it's like hockey, it's fight for your life, I like everybody to be a part of the story. And at the end of the day, everybody hugs and go, man, we entertain the heck out of them. That's just because I've been in the wars, right? Do you get it? So I don't need to, I'm full. I got so many t-shirts of stuff done, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, that it's just, it's just for, I'm trying to surround like-minded people that love to get entertained by the same thing, that love the thing that's called wrestling.
Darren, we really appreciate you joining us this morning. I will say it. I said I was going to say it. I didn't like you. I feel like that's not shocking news to you.
You're not supposed to, bro.
Yes, that's what I figured. I figured
Can I
you'd be
say
like,
thank you, Jeremy, for that means I did my job to the best.
yeah.
Would you have loved me on your team, though?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
if you
the
were
greatest
on my
gift
team,
that I have, is everybody would have wanted me to play for them, and I would have played. Honestly, if I wore a Colorado jersey, you would have had. You got my sword, you got my shield, no matter where I go.
I love
Sort
the
of like what
documentary.
I have to do this weekend.
Look at whoever Bully Ray, if you got to imagine him as Claude Lemieux, and to make it a little bit, more on there, then I respect that as well. I love the documentary that came out last year, the Unrivaled documentary with the Wings and Abs, which is a fantastic look at everything. And I was so happy they got so many people to talk about that rivalry. I've read all the books. Obviously, I grew up just watching it. And I figured it when I said I didn't like you, you would respect that, honestly, because that was your job. I was not supposed to like you. As Peter Forsberg, you told the Peter Forsberg story. Like, that's the person who got me into hockey. I watched a game and I watched Peter Forsberg play, and I'm like, this is my guy. This is who I'm rocking with. This is my team. And then I've hated the Detroit Red Wings ever since.
I'll tell you this one thing. Peter Forsberg, one of the most fiercest competitors. I put him in the Terrell Owens category of doesn't matter what we're playing, I just want to win. Like it's crazy. I play softball with Terrell Owens, who got to be in a charity, and that's some people are misunderstood. Like and this is Darren McCarty's view, is that this guy just wants to win. It's not, and some people can misunderstood it. Yeah, Peter Forsberg the same way. He hates us all, and you know what? That's the way it's supposed to be. So thank you, thank you for hating me enough to have me on the wrestling program to understand. So you made my dreams come true, even though I was crushing yours back in the day. Thank you.
You got the game 7 where Wah let in all those goals, and I thought that was our year.
Wait,
again.
don't. Hey, you know what? You don't. This is just for between everybody. This is just whoever, all 3 people or whatever watching or whatever. Like Jeremy, this is just between me and you. Okay, when you're having a bad day, okay, don't worry. It could always be worse. Because you brought up Patrick Waugh and those 7 goals. Forget about that, and forget about the hat trick I scored on him. Or if you go back, all the goals I scored against him. he got beat up by Mike Vernon, a midget 50-year-old goalie, and then Chris Osgood, a little 12-year-old the next year, right? And then he had to retire. So karma's real.
Retired goal by Minnesota too. Minnesota got the last goal on Patrick Waugh.
Oh, you know.
And then
Why are you so mad at Patrick Waugh, bro?
Patrick.
You're bombed, eh? That's what, but it's a good thing you wear a Peter Forsberg jersey, and Peter
I'm wearing a
Forsberg is
Milan
not
Hayduk
Patrick Waugh.
jersey, actually. I represent
Oh, you got
down here.
Hayduk?
Yeah.
Oh,
Love
Hayduk, sniper. Hey, he's down here in Detroit and whatever like that. So he plays men's league. He's a great guy. See, that's the whole thing, is that you got so many great guys. Adam Foote, big nosed, ugly lumberjack, assistant coach for Vancouver now, one of the greatest human beings, in the history for his team.
Do you have a bad word to say about Joe Sakic? If you have a bad word to say about Joe Sakic, I might.
No, do you have a bad word to say about our king, Steve Yzerman? Listen,
no, I actually have
nothing
nothing
about
bad
those
to say about Steve
rivalries.
Yzerman.
Your king and my king stayed up on the throne, and us peasants fought down. I'll give you a nugget though. Joe Sakic, Darren McCarty, born in the same Burnaby General Hospital. He took all the skill. I took all the toughness.
Hold on. You're an April Fool's baby, aren't you?
I'm an April Fool's baby. You guys didn't have a chance. Left-handed and everything I've been through. You don't think that the hand of that. So watch out. That's why. And that's everything that I had to put in, to be guest referee for Slammiversary.
We brought it home. I'm a Sens fan, so for me, I'm like, I got no dogs in any fight, so I got nothing to go.
You're fine. Good luck.
Exactly. The best I got is from that whole conversation, Stevie Wise from Nepean, my hometown, so that works.
Well, and you know what? We really appreciate you letting us trade for Alex DeBrincat there. We're gonna use his 40 goals.
That's true.
We're gonna show you how we're gonna use it to advantage. In fact, at the Detroit Red Wings, we're gonna use it to make the playoffs.
It's fine.
People don't think that we will. We will use Alex DeBrincat in his 40 goals, maybe 50 goals, to win the playoffs.
Listen, it didn't win Althea Cup to go over there, so we'll see how Alex DeBrincat does. Okay.
Yeah, but again, Alex DeBrincat is not Daniel Alfredson.
Of course, these are apples and oranges.
Alex DeBrincat at the age. How old was Alfredson when he came?
Alfie was at the end.
At the end, last, boom, on the way out. Let's have the sweetest contingent play together, right? DeBrincat, young contract, 4 years, fighting for the next contract too. That's the same thing.
That's going to be special. It's going to be special watching him play in Detroit.
Don't be mad.
I'm not upset. You know
got what? The redo canal. Don't be mad. You can stay it all winter long.
Go where the money is. Go where you get your good your opportunities. Ottawa is they're not there yet. They will be, new ownership and all, but we got time. So there you go. Darren, thank you so much. DMAC, this was a really great opportunity to chat with you. Everyone, go check out Slammiversary this Saturday. It's in Windsor, Ontario at St. Clair College. You can watch it on Fight TV and literally everywhere. Just search Slammiversary on your Google machines and you'll find where to watch it. Enforce the hell out of that match, DMAC, would you?
I'm going to try to stay out of the way and let the boys be boys, but Jeremy knows what happens if I got to get involved.
Yeah, I feel bad for all of them if Darren actually has to get involved. It's not going to be good. Not going to end well for them.
Well, hey, you know what? We'll just let it fall where they may, and we'll see what happens. But thank you, guys. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Darren. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Yeah, Darren McCarty 4 is the best way on the Twitter machine or any blue check marks on Instagram, Facebook, the new threads, obviously, too. We're getting up and doing that. DarrenMcCarty.com, or watch me 11 to 1 Monday to Friday, WoodwardSports.com. Anywhere you find it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Darren. Enjoy the rest of your day. Tomorrow at Impact Slammiversary. We really appreciate you joining the show. And
anything happens, you need my update, hit me back.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
That was fun. I'm glad that came through. We were able to do that. I didn't know how he was gonna take the ab stuff. Like I wasn't sure if he was gonna be like super serious about it. Like being in wrestling, I figured he had like a sense of humor, and like he immediately, once I saw him pop on backstage, and I was like, oh shit, he was laughing. I was like, okay, he's got a humor about this. So he
said it himself. He's an entertainer.
Yeah.
Good.
It was good. It was fun to have Darren McCarty on the show. And like I said, I didn't like that man. growing up. I didn't. I like him a lot more now, but as a kid, could not stand Darren McCarty.
Well, that's what we're here for. Now it's Slammiversary. It's up to you if you're going to like him again when he's the special enforcer in that tag match. He seems to think that Eric Young's coming, but what do you think? Is this the possibility?
Can I run Darren McCarty believes Eric Young is the mystery partner? Like, I can run that story, right?
Those are his comments. Is what he believes. I
feel like I can run that story. It makes sense if it's Eric Young. Like, the tease seem to indicate Eric Young. It could also just indicate PCO coming back from the dead, because that's what PCO kind of does. But the Team Canada jersey, it was strong Eric Young vibes. And like I said, like, he signed with WWE, but nothing, he never appeared. There was no real update on that. It was less than a year ago at this point, though. So is he out of that? If he is, what happened there? I guess that's a different story for a different day, but they're certainly teasing it like it could be him.
What's interesting to me, if it is Eric, is he and I did an interview a long time ago that it was kind of lost to time and just technical issues. And I asked him about, this was June 2021, maybe in June 2022. It was at a Greektown event. And I asked him, I was like, what happens after you're done? What happens when you're done with wrestling? And he's like, I fade off into the sunset and no one hears from me again. And that's kind of what had happened. So who knows? Maybe D-Mac has a point.
I was just about to text you, but I'll just ask you on air right now. So Darren McCarty believes Eric Young is the mystery partner for Saturday. Can I run this story? Is that good to run, even though Eric Young is, last we heard, under WWE contract?
Less than 0% chance.
Less than 0%. Well, I'm going to run the story that is Darren McCarty's words.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay.
All right. Is that bacon or carrot sticks? That's bacon.
It's bacon, a little overcooked, but they're the eggs.
Oh, the eggs are there.
There we go. We have the eggs. All right.
I thought about breaking news. I'll tell you what. I'll go ahead and promote a story for Fightful Select tomorrow that I can't necessarily talk a lot about, but I have told both Joel and Jeremy this story. There's going to be a story on FightfulSelect.com tomorrow that is going to get people talking. A lot. Oh, a lot. It's going to be a real interesting one.
All right, let's go.
I don't think I know anything about this. You don't tell me anything. Let's be honest.
I put it in our chat yesterday.
So that would check out. That story.
That would check out. You not reading the chat per usual.
Yes, I never read the chat. That's true. That story. Yes, that'll definitely happen.
I'm not allowed in that chat because I don't write for the site. I just hear on
what
camera.
Do you do?
I wouldn't.
Why are you here?
That's a good question. I'm literally here to move the shows along when I can.
I thought about just breaking news on this show all the time, like not wrestling news, just random shit that I hear.
That's fine.
Like, for example, Jeremy knows who told me this, but I knew about the entire James Harden trade about a month and a half before it happened one time. The framework of it, just because people in sports also like wrestling and they want scoops and vice versa. So you never know. What should I was going to do Creed the other day, but I think everybody knows they're coming back very soon. Creed's coming back.
Are they going to take the company higher?
What do you mean?
Can you take me
there you go.
higher?
That's what I wanted.
So glad we got this.
That's what I wanted, but that's not the wrestling. Like, come on, you need to do some My Sacrifice for that.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but like higher, we got to take the company to new heights here. All the wrestlers, the My Sacrifice is an easy cut. I'm going with the deep cuts.
Every time there's a windstorm out here, I go outside in a button-up shirt and with a t-shirt underneath it, and I just stand in the wind, pretending that I'm Scott Stapp. You know how many times people have called me Sean Ross Stapp on accident?
It ain't an accident. They really do think that's your last name. I get it.
Nobody knows Joel's name at this point. Darren's calling you Jack,
Josh.
I think.
Call me
Josh, yeah. Josh. People are calling you Joe.
Joe
Yeah,
from
no one knows
Reddit.
your
Yeah.
name.
I get it.
My wife had a friend, and her last name was McKibben. And this guy that one of our friends was dating called her McRibbon for like 6 hours.
Dude was hungry. I get it.
Yeah. We'll go with the Creed scoop today. I mean, it hasn't been outright said, but it's implied they're coming back. It's happening, guys.
Are we talking the original lineup, or are we going to get some substitutions involved here?
I mean, as long as it's Stapp and Tremonti, we're all right.
That's fair. I get it. It's just like if you bring Nickelback, back, even though they never left, you got to bring Chad and the brothers. Otherwise, everyone else just doesn't matter.
I don't think anybody knows who the brothers are.
That's fine.
Chad.
Breaking Benjamin is literally the lead singer with just a bunch of guys. And even then, I went to one of their shows. The lead singer was the third best singer in his own set. He had his bassist singing, and somebody leaned over and was like, man, he could front his own band. And I'm like, yeah, this one. That would be a good idea.
I see you saw Fozzy too. The amount of times I've heard Rich Ward does most of the singing live, and so does the bassist. And I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
There you go. Well,
listen, man, go front a rock band, Sean. Okay, it's hard work. You could. Let's do it.
We could do some butt rock and sell some music to commercials. That would be great.
Yeah, people would buy that up real quick. Sell it to
here's my audition. Whoa! There you go. Every commercial ever.
Put it on repeat. People are going to be dying to use it.
Yeah.
There it is. Wait, I think that already exists. That's the Gallus theme. That's just the Gallus theme.
Is it? I wouldn't know.
Wow. Sean Ross Sapp confirms he does not watch NXT on this show.
I skipped through the entrances. I really did. There's really no reason for me to watch that.
Yeah, I get it. That's right.
Good save. Good save. Yeah, I'm going to break a pretty interesting story tomorrow night while I'm at a Fall Out Boy concert.
There's so much wrestling tomorrow. You're going to Fall Out Boy?
Listen.
What's it going to do? Watch Battle of the Belts?
Yeah, Battle of the Belts. That's a huge show that you're going to miss tomorrow.
Mental Health Day. You wouldn't know anything about that, Jeremy. See ya.
No, I don't take any of those, unfortunately. I should probably take a lot more, if we're being honest.
Once in a blue moon. Oh, man. That's so funny. Sean Ross Sapp, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I didn't have to text them my question. Just ask them.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I had a feeling that would go down the way it did, and here we are. Anyway, thanks again to Darren McCarty for joining us. That was a great conversation with him. We got a lot out there. We got a lot out of him. Once he started talking about loving storylines, I was like, well, all my lines of questioning have to change, because I wanted to ask him about, having a match versus Chin Strap Jesus, working with Rhino, pull the curtain back on the ICW No Holds Barred match that he did against Brennan Kirk, where they weren't even in a ring. They were fighting in a circle with guardrails and beating the shit out of each other, going through doors. I want to talk about that stuff, but you know what? Sometimes you got to keep you got to keep the stories going. So I appreciate it. He got a lot of really funny stuff out on us, though. I appreciate that. It's good. It was fun.
He was very fun, and maybe if I ever see him at a show, I'll take a worked pick where he punches me in the face. Or maybe he'll let me punch him. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Get one back for old Claude.
For old Claude Van Damme.
Yes, sure. Claude Van Damme, Joel.
Since we are sorry, I had to cough. Since we are talking about Slammiversary with Darren, do you want to do a quick preview just of the matches we're actually looking forward to? Because it's going to be a pretty good card at Slammiversary this week, tomorrow.
Literally tomorrow.
Literally,
what are we doing?
I have to do a post show, and I can't remember where I'm doing it or when I'm doing it. But yes, tomorrow is the show. You want to talk through a couple of matches and give our thoughts?
Yeah, I like the card overall. I'm really looking forward to Deanna and Trinity. I believe that's headlining. So
I think so too. And I'm happy about that. That would be the second pay-per-view in a row where Impact has went with the women as the main event.
And they closed the show last night. I know they had the post-credit tease with more, but they closed the show last night with them, kind of the big women's brawl and everything. So yeah, I look forward to that. I think that'll be really good. Deanna's one of the best in the world, and Trinity's done well in Impact so far. I look forward to seeing her. Oh, let's be honest. No offense to anybody else Trinity has faced thus far. Deonna Purrazzo is a step up from all of them. I think that's very fair to say. So yeah, I look forward to seeing her and seeing her elevate her game against someone like Deonna. Shelley and Aldis and Chris Sabin, Leo Rush should both be good matches. Are we thinking? Are they putting the title on Aldis here?
So this is why the Deonna and Trinity conversation is so interesting to me. I wouldn't be surprised if Deonna retained, kept the title, and Mickie James came out and challenged Deonna Purrazzo and said, I never put that title around your waist at Rebellion like I said I would because I want to beat you for it. And I'm cleared, and now we're going to get a Mickie James heel turn because Nick Aldis wins his match and wins the Impact World Championship. And then that power couple that everyone was talking about as being Steve Maclin and Deonna Purrazzo, no. The power couple is Nick Aldis and Mickie James running roughshod on Impact. And then when Maclin comes back, you got a Maclin who's going to be out for a little while, and people might want to cheer him when he comes back, especially if Deonna is still in the babyface role. You could do Aldis and Mickie versus Maclin and Purrazzo. They've been filmed together finally in an Impact segment. It was when they were in Wagga Wagga. They went to the zoo, and the two of them were together, like cuddling a baby kangaroo, a Joey. And I was like, oh, it's kind of canon now, but that's where I could see it going. I could see Deonna retaining, Mickie coming out to end the show and laying out Deonna, and then Nick Aldis comes out and says, welcome back, baby, and they hug and kiss, and crowd's booing as Nick Aldis raises that world title around or above his head because he beat Shelley, and he beat Shelley in a shitty way. However, if Shelley wins and retains, then they're going to run it back in Toronto at Emergence, and that's where Aldis wins because that's where Aldis came back at Rebellion. They'll play that up. That's what I think.
I think Shelley should retain here. I like the idea of running it back a little bit more. Shelley's only had the title for a month. He won it at Against All Odds. I'd like to just see, like, Macklin's reign was shorter than I thought it was going to be. I don't love the idea of like two kind of short back to back reigns here, especially because I think you agree with me. I think Macklin's reign seemed like it was going to be a bit longer than it was. I think we expected it to be a bit longer, I should say. And it was shorter. And then Shelley won. So I'd like Shelley to at least keep the title for another month. Sure, run it back, do the title change a month from now. But a 1 month title run for Alex Shelley feels just a little, doesn't feel like enough. That's really what it comes down to for me. Is it just does not feel like enough.
What I'm nervous about is them doing a option C cash in, but like a friendly one. So let's say Chris Sabin retains his X Division championship over Leo Rush. Then at the tapings, Chris Sabin says at the next show, I want to cash in option C. You and I have had matches before. Let's see who, the better man is. If I can't win that title again, then really what am I doing here? Not a retirement match, but just a little friendly storyline. I don't want to see that because I've seen option C used recently within the last 6-7 months. And I don't need it again. I want to see whoever wins that Ultimate X match. I want to see them step up to whoever the X Division champion is. I feel like Chris Sabin's going to retain, though. That's the one. Between the two machine guns, I feel like Sabin retains and Shelley drops. But I could be wrong. Could be the Motor City Machine Guns are riding high and they keep both titles because they both have only held them for a month. And I don't think they defended them. I know Chris Sabin did against Trey Miguel. But other than that, I don't think there's been other championship matches.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. So again, that's why and again, Aldis is really going hard on the, are you a transitional champion or are you better than that? So maybe if Shelley wins, Aldis just pitches a fit and they run it back in a month. And I'd be okay with that.
Ultimate X, that should be really fun. As far as I'm always going to ride for Speedball. I don't know if he's going to win, but a Speedball Sabin match, really any Speedball match is fun. Angels is kind of like getting the big sort of push here after the split with the design. So maybe Angels takes this. Why are you laughing, Joel?
The promo he cut last night was just awful. It was very
Oh.
2006 TNA, and I like Angels. I've said that 100 million times. I actually really like Angels, but whatever he cut last night was just not it. He called himself like the Celestial because he's Angel. And I was like, don't whatever. If your last name is Angels and you're working in TNA and Impact, you can't evoke an angelic mantra or moniker when Christopher Daniels literally laid the foundation of that company. You can't make that work. So I thought it was funny, but it was very 2006 TNA.
Christopher Daniels should come back since he is the fallen angel and do something with angels. Maybe they can go to a baseball game and be in the outfield, and we will have angels in the outfield.
You suck. I love that. I'm thinking of like, are they going to LA anytime soon? They don't do much West Coast action out there for Impact. But if
they used to run baseball stadiums, they got like 5 people in them, but they would run baseball stadiums.
Those were rough days. Dungeon Master of Puppets, by the way, sent a super chat saying, I think Claude's legal name is Turtle now, Jeremy. Oh dear.
Oh, that's Dungeon Master of Puppets is being very mean to my 2022. We appreciate the super chat, but we got the latest title out of the rivalry. Let's be honest, there's no real rivalry between the two teams anymore. The games it's East-West now. For some reason, Detroit got moved to the East, which is stupid. So like they only play each other twice a year, and the players on the team now have no history against each other. So it's still fun when Detroit and Colorado plays, but there's no real rivalry.
So going back to the Ultimate X match, this is the most wide open match that's going on. I mean, a lot of the matches are kind of like, oh, there's a lot of questions in the air of who wins, who retains, and all that. But this one's pretty wide open.
Do you think Angels wins, and then he does a photo shoot with the big X, and he is an angel in the centerfold?
100% yes. But I don't want to say Gresham because every time somebody says Jonathan Gresham's going to win in an Impact match, he doesn't. So I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not going to talk about Jonathan Gresham. I'll let him surprise us. And then Speedball is Speedball, like you said. Kevin Knight and Speedball had a hell of a match last night on Impact. Go ahead and watch that. And Kushida is Kushida. He's going to perform. So I'm looking forward to that match. It's going to be fun.
Dude, Speedball, it did an interview with Cultaholic. Their Desert Island Graps, which is a great concept for a series, by the way. If you haven't checked that out, they talk to wrestlers and they ask like, hey, what are 3 matches you would take with you on a desert island? And so Speedball's on this, and he's like, this Elevation X that AJ Styles and Rhino did. It was a terrible idea. It looked like both men were about to fall. Rhino told me it was super clunky and like you couldn't get your footing, and it looked bad. It looked awful. I want to do it. Can we do an Elevation X with Speedball? I want to make these wrestlers' dreams come true when they ask for things like this. So I want Speedball to win, and then I want Sabin and Speedball in an Elevation X. That's my pitch meeting here.
I mean, I'm all for it. I can talk to Dad about it and see if he wants to run the match. I can't talk to him about it though until after Slammiversary because he is an actor.
Busy.
Yeah,
he's making phone calls to people,
and I don't want to talk to Santino Marella because he's too busy beefing with.
He's being a jerk.
He
didn't let the Rascals in the match, even though they won.
They cheated though, so that's all.
So
anyway, you know what? It's a loaded 4-way tag match. I'm looking forward to it. It's Ace of Base versus Myers and Moose, Rich Swann, Sami Callihan, and the returning Subculture. I think this is it for Ace of Base, but I don't think that they take the pin. I think Moose pins Swann, and we have Moose and Myers as the tag champs. There are a few opportunities for them right off the bat. Good Hands are going to be the first. They'll do Swann and Callihan as another challenging tag team, and then Ace of Base again. They're going to want their tag title rematch. So that's kind of where I'm at. What do you think?
I think the Rascals end up getting in this match.
Really?
And I think the Rascals end up winning this match. That's my call. I think they get in day of the show. They shoot some type of angle. They do something to get in this match, and I think they win. And then I do think they have a proper match against Ace of Base at the tapings or the next show or whatever. I don't think Ace of Base takes the loss here, but I think the Rascals get in and win.
I think the Rascals get a title shot down the line, but I think they got to, prove themselves, quote unquote, first to get themselves in. Santino is a big jerk, though. My problem with the Santino and Dirty Dango stuff is that Dango is being super serious wrestler and Santino's too busy playing up his Santino Marella bullshit that it's just like, I can't listen to him be on commentary and be like, oh, some of my God, I'm so serious. Da, da, da. I can't listen to this as like a super serious storyline that they're trying to play, while Santino Marella, who has appeared as Anthony Corelli on the show, can't just revert back to who he is and be like, I'm going to kick your ass because you're talking about my family. Like you're not talking about, my daughter, you're not talking about Ariana Grande, or not Grande, Ariana Grace. Ariana Grace. You're talking about
she's a dangerous woman, that Ariana Grace.
She is a dangerous woman, and she's coming back soon. But the point was, like, they're just the Santino thing doesn't work for me in this storyline. He should be super serious matching Dango, or at least like it's a personal issue, and he should be treating it as such. So it just kind of bums me out to watch him, act this way.
Okay.
Some of my
I don't have much to add on
that's fine.
Dango and Santino, honestly.
And then everyone's favorite, this is the last match I really want to talk about. Everyone's favorite Knockouts tag team right now is Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich. Did you see this promo on Thursday night?
Yeah, like they gotta win these belts, right? Like
there are going to be a lot of people hitting certain milestones in their development if they win those titles. Tell you that much.
Yeah, they gotta win these belts. They're fantastic. They're appealing to a demographic, and I think that appeal is definitely working.
Yeah, it's definitely working. A lot of people are really appealing to this Slamovich and Kelly thing. Listen, I tweeted just a very straightforward photo of the two of those women, and it's getting some numbers, and it just says, I swear this pair is making a lot of people feel very certain kinds of ways right now, and they are absolutely doing that. It's a very strange tag team that they've got going on here. I'm gonna find this photo. I'm gonna upload it because I think people need to see this photo. This is a still from last night.
Yeah, look at that. They're happy.
They're very happy they are. Look at that smile on both their faces.
Yeah,
they know this is gonna be it's gonna be a good match. Anyway, they face the Coven for the Knockouts tag titles. Looking forward to that match. Let's move on. We're done with the Impact Slammiversary stuff. AEW. Let's move on to let's talk about Dynamite, and we're going to talk about the big news.
AEW's banned.
Yes. Are we banning AEW talk on this show now? Is that what's going on?
No, we've already banned one company from talking about them. I don't think we've actually banned them. I banned them on the spotlight for a little bit, and then Jensen.
I never wanted them on my podcast anyway.
Okay, good. We're not real wrestling fans because we don't like them.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Their next time. Anyway, we're not talking about them. So we'll talk about the AEW Banned Moves stuff in a minute. But let's talk about Dynamite, because I personally quite enjoyed the show this past Wednesday more than a few other shows. Kota Ibushi is the fifth man, like we talked about in our little speculation process. And I talked to Into PAC, and guess what? PAC is the other fifth man.
I was super disappointed it was PAC. I was crying. I was like, why wasn't it Homicide? It should have been him. It should have been Homicide. It was very sad.
Homicide would have hit his mark and not appeared on camera before the big reveal. Damn it. When I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, there's PAC. And then they had to like pull the camera away and just like, oh shit, it's him. The reveals were fine. You and I talked about this on Wednesday, where we said that the chance of them doing the reveal as like the main event segment were pretty low, and then it turned out to be exactly that. And like I told you on the show, Kota Ibushi ain't showing up in Saskatoon.
Yeah, I thought if they were going to do it as the main event, he was going to be there, and instead they did it as the main event, and he wasn't. I laughed so hard, and I know this is not the reaction they were going for, but like Kenny's got the chair around his throat, and they're about to, crush his larynx or whatever they're going to do. And he's just like, look at the big screen up there.
Any last words, Kenny Omega? Oh, look at the big screen, which is like the most like elite thing to do. I'm looking
Right,
for
I
this week.
cackled. The Young Bucks and Hangman were clearly there too. Where were they earlier with all this nonsense? He's like, no, don't hit the mark yet. Wait until Kenny tells him to look at the big screen. And I think
They're
Kota
going to
wasn't
do
there.
that. They're going to do that on BT. They're going to do a whole long bit about
Good, they
how
should.
that
It's
played out.
hilarious.
I thought it was
It's
very funny.
hilarious.
Not at all
And they got
shocked.
Kota.
Yeah, they got Kota Ibushi. And you know what? I'm happy that Kota's first appearance in AEW is going to be in the match at TD Garden, where the room will be much more full. You know, again, no shade on Saskatoon, but all shade on Saskatoon. It
There were
wasn't
90K there.
Yes, that's right. MJF really knew. He had sightlines that none of us had. I got to give him credit for that. So yeah, it made more sense to have Ibushi's first appearance live in front of a crowd be in Boston, in my opinion.
Raising my hand.
Yes, I hear it. I see this. Yes.
So Kota Ibushi. Everyone, I assume everyone watching this show knows who Kota Ibushi is. Because I assume you watch Dynamite. I assume you're up a little bit on wrestling. There's these stupid comments and arguments from not like troll accounts either. Because I understand, I saw that stupid thing of like, they got Kota Ibushi when they have 90 people who they not used because like half of them are injured or on ROH and stuff. Like those are just dumb people looking for attention, right? There's actual people who do actual work in this line of work who are like, don't really know who Kota Ibushi is. Or if they don't, they might know who Kota Ibushi is, but their stupid argument is, oh, they should have done a video package the week before. And then you build it a little, and then he will be there. Or he should have been on Wednesday's show for more hype, and then he'll be there in Boston. So you could further introduce the audience to who he is. They love the comment. This comment annoys me, Joel. This annoys me. What if you're tuning in to Dynamite for the first time and you just see who nobody knows who Kota Ibushi is? I even saw fucking sorry for my language. I apologize. I'm very fired up.
We're a minivan friendly show, Jeremy Lambert.
I'm sorry. Anyway,
everybody. You heard a take, yeah.
I saw people who were like, if you were watching AEW for the first time, you don't know who PAC is. If you're watching AEW for the first time, you don't know who any of these people are because it's your first time watching the show. You flipped on and you stumbled upon it and you're just watching it and you're like, oh, this looks interesting. You're not watching this show because you saw a graphic online of like, oh, I'm going to watch this for this. If you're watching AEW for the first time, you don't know half, maybe 70% of these people. So it's not AEW's job to explain all of this stuff to first-time viewers. Because here's another reality. Most of these people ain't first-time viewers, okay? And if they are, again, it's probably because they're flipping channels and they're trying to get their attention on something. You know what gets somebody's attention really well is holding a chair to somebody's throat. Like, oh, this looks interesting. Oh, they're trying to murder this man on television. Maybe y'all watch this. Oh, this athletic stuff is happening. Maybe y'all watch this. That's the first time AEW viewer. And you ain't worried about introducing, let's build up Kota Ibushi. If you did a video package for Kota Ibushi a week ago and explained who he was, but what if you were watching AEW for the first time? Why is this Kota Ibushi person so important? Oh, there's this video package. They did a video package for him on the show on Wednesday. They told you all of this. And by the way, PAC explained, you broke my nose. You took me out. I'm back. I'm coming for revenge. It's stupid of like, if you're watching it for the first time, you got to explain to the television audience who these people are. Andrew the Giant says, yeah, I watched Collision with my 6-year-old. I explained to her who CM Punk was. I watch AEW with my kids all the time. I watch WWE with my kids all the time. Roman Reigns will come out. They see Roman Reigns like, oh, is that Roman Reigns? Like they're confused of who Roman Reigns. It says Roman Reigns on the graphic, and they're like, is that Roman Reigns? Yes, that's Roman Reigns. Most of the first-time viewers, they're not going to know these people in the first place. And then so, yeah, you explain it on TV. And they did that. Let's not act like they didn't do this either. They did the video package. They explained why Kota Ibushi was important, that he's the fifth man. PAC explained his actions. You don't need weeks of video package to build this stuff up. It's dumb. It's such a disingenuous argument from people who are smarter than this. And that's what annoys me. That's why I'm actually annoyed about this, because I know these people and I know they are smarter than this, but they do this stuff to get like engagement and everything. And they do it, and it's so disingenuous. Like, if you want to do it of like, I do it, I'll troll and everything. I hope people understand my trolling and when I'm not and stuff. Listen to this podcast. You'll hear me rant and rave about all of this stuff. These people like are actually, they've worked themselves into believing this, or they're just doing it because they just want the engagement. I don't know why they do it, but it's clearly not in a tongue-in-cheek kind of joking way how we know it is with others like myself. They actually believe you need to do this to hook in the first-time fans. If you're just tuning in to AEW, if you've not been watching it since 2019, it's so stupid. It's so disingenuous, and I cannot stand it from people who I hold in, and maybe I shouldn't. Maybe this is my fault. Who I hold in a little bit of a higher regard. Just be better than this. Don't act like this is something new of you got to introduce these people to the audience with a million video packages. They introduced Glacier to the audience with a video package for 18 friggin' weeks, and then they did nothing with it. Here's another argument that I hated coming out of Dynamite, Joel. The Nick Wayne stuff.
Oh, I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Yeah, you saw it as well.
I saw the one person that I expected to see say it, and I was like, you couldn't help yourself. Go ahead.
Oh, I would comment on Andrew the Giant. Says, I'm not over familiar with who he is, but the show makes him seem like a big deal. So I would go and find out it, or if these shows like yours mention it, maybe I'll research. Like, yes, sometimes you want to research this stuff. Like, oh, hey, who's Kota Ibushi? Oh, he's being introduced here. If you've been watching AEW, there's been no big tease of Kota Ibushi. If you're online, you've seen kind of the teases Omega has done. But the fact is, they picked him for the fifth man. And so that tells you right there, he has some type of tie to these men. He is important in some way to this world of the elite. They did the video package with him, right? They explained his tie to the elite a little bit. They explained a little bit why he was a big deal. I hope they do a little bit more with Control Center and all that stuff. And I understand if you're not super online and checking that, like, fine. And if you are online for Control Center, then you're probably online enough to go watch Kota Ibushi matches. But then Kota Ibushi is going to go out there and he's going to have this great match as part of Blood and Guts. And you're like, oh, Kota Ibushi, this guy friggin' rules. He's awesome. The fact you are sold, you are already sold on the Elite and Blackpool Combat Club storyline, Blood and Guts at this point. The fifth members, they just got to make sense for the story they have been telling. And for the story they've been telling, they make sense because Pac explained his motivations and Ibushi makes sense because he's friends with these guys. And they've explained that Omega has been recruiting him. You don't know who he was recruiting, but he's been around to recruit, or he's been away and then back, whatever. But he's been there to recruit, right? So you know he's important enough that Kenny Omega is personally seeking him out. Don't act like they've not done this stuff on the shows. That's the other thing that just because you weren't paying attention to it doesn't mean they didn't do it. Just because you were not hit over the head with it. And I see Senior Nerd says blame WWE. They've dumbed down the audience with all this like hitting you over the head stuff. Look, I understand why WWE does that stuff, but WWE has this case as well of NXT guys just they're brought up and then here they are. It's like half this audience doesn't watch NXT. So how do we know who they are? Should have they done a video package? It's such a disingenuous argument. Just enjoy that moment, that introduction. And if you want to learn more about them, go learn more about them. That's what they do. Now, the Nick Wayne thing was very stupid.
Before we get to the Nick Wayne thing,
yeah,
I want to get I want to get one thing out of the way, and I largely agree with what you're saying, and I actually think that there's one. I wouldn't say it's a middle ground, but there's one thing that I think will be very helpful for the video package people out there, and it's very straightforward. Collision Saturday night. It's your last push for Blood and Guts. You're going to do a little profile on both teams. You give them 2 minutes of whatever breakdown explaining literally everyone in the match, if you have to, or just what each group stands for and why you want to root for the Elite or why you want to boo Blackpool Combat Club and PAC. Very simple, very straightforward. You can do it on Rampage, whatever it is. You've got another 6 hours of TV between now and Wednesday, and that's just TV alone, and then plus all your online stuff. I think it's a slam dunk for them to produce a segment for them, for those people who were complaining, and it will be on the air. And I think that they'll run something on Saturday being like, looking ahead to Blood and Guts, this is the match. And that's where you'll do a little quick stand up with the Elite saying like, this is Kota Ibushi. This is who he is. He kicks ass, and Golden Lovers, yada, yada, Golden Elite. Let's go. Easy as that. The Nick Wayne stuff we're going to get into though.
Well, we mentioned that on Wednesday's show when we were like, yeah, it's probably Kota Ibushi. And then how do you introduce him and stuff?
Right.
And then we said, you got
Not
Collision.
Saskatoon. Oh, yeah.
We said you got Collision. Yeah, you got to do something. And this would be a knock against AEW, by the way. If they don't do anything on Collision, if they don't have any type of Blood and Guts video package, further explanation on stuff, if they don't do that, Collision would be the best bet because that's going to draw the biggest audience. It's going to draw bigger than Battle of the Belts. It's going to draw bigger than Rampage. So I think Collision is where you have to do this. If they don't do anything on Collision with this, I do think that is a knock against them. I do think it's just something they should. Like, that's just easy. You do a 2-3 minute video, and then that, for one, it gets you further hyped. It makes you remember that, oh yeah, hey, there's Blood and Guts on Dynamite, because Collision can sometimes feel very much a separate show from Dynamite because there's not a ton of roster synergy. It's, again, just different people. Even the feel of the show is different, but running a video package for that makes sense on multiple levels. And if they don't, I'll strike AEW for that. Like, you know what? You guys kind of missed an opportunity here. That doesn't mean they were wrong in how they've handled everything before that. It does mean I think they were just incorrect, or they should have just done a better job when it came to promoting their big match on a television show that draws a lot of viewership. Now, Nick Wayne. This is why I said on Wednesday, Nick Wayne can lose his first match, because I had a feeling he was going to lose his first match. Because even though they gave him all the hype and everything, and even though they made it seem like a big deal, which they should have, my point was always going to be, and what it was on Wednesday, this kid is 18 years old. He does not need to come out of the gate and win a bunch of matches and be built up like this big undefeated killer. He's not. He's 18 years old. He's an excellent wrestler, but there's a long story to tell with him. And Swerve is a guy who's been around for a while. He's been a television star for years now. It is okay if you lose a competitive match to Swerve Strickland. And that is what happened. He lost a competitive match to Swerve Strickland. This is not the end of Nick Wayne's career. It's not the end of an 18-year-old's career because he lost his first match. I think it's better. It's always better to not have that pressure of like, oh, keep him undefeated. Like, go get the loss out of the way, and then you can just do what you need to do with him without being like, oh, is this going to be his first loss? Is this the first time he's going to taste defeat? Like, no, just lose, and then you can just tell the story that you want to tell. There's nothing wrong that he lost to Swerve Strickland. It's very dumb that people think like, oh, you got to win this big debut match. You know, we've hyped you up this much. You have to win this match. There are reasons to lose in certain scenarios. This was a reason to lose in this scenario. Nick Wayne is not a killer. All right? He's not a killer. He doesn't have the look of a killer. He looks like a friggin' 18-year-old because he is.
He looks like he's Germa-fried.
Yeah. This ain't Goldberg out here. This is Nick Wayne, an 18-year-old kid who's wrestling his first TV match in front of this big of an audience. And he went out there and he took Swerve Strickland to the limit and he lost. That's okay. Like you said, you build this up now. Maybe he comes back and he beats Swerve on a big stage and he beats him for a title. Maybe he does that. Maybe he doesn't. The point I was making on Wednesday is he's 18. Nobody wins in real sports. People don't win a title in their first year when they're even considered prodigies. LeBron James didn't win a title in his first year. Jordan didn't win a title. These guys just don't win titles in their first year. And it's okay. What matters let's revisit this conversation 5 years from now, where if I'm still doing this show in 5 years, my blood pressure is going to be very high with how ranty I've become
That's
on
gonna
this
be
show.
dangerous. That's very dangerous.
Yeah. But like in 5 years, let's look at this, because let's take a for example. Let's take a for example, Joel. And I'm trying to do a full-on comparison here, but Tyler Bate was thought to be a prodigy, right? That's a guy who was really good at a really young age and was wrestling in front of a WWE audience, whether it was NXT, NXT UK, at 18, 19 years old. Where is Tyler Bate right now? What good did Tyler Bate get out of winning these championships and winning these matches off of this? Tyler Bate's been, and I like Tyler Bate. I think he's great. I don't think he's doing anything bad in NXT. I know there's been some circumstances out of his control with the pandemic, but if you had said 5 years ago when you're watching Tyler Bate in Chicago against Pete Dunne, I feel like that was 5 years ago at that point. God, like if you were watching him, if you were watching him 5 years ago, you would have thought, oh, this guy's the future. He's going to be a big time star for this company. And he's honestly in a worse position than he was then.
Tyler Bate is a weird case because of the way WWE treated their UK talent, because of the way WWE treated their NXT talent, because of the way that Bate kind of grew up in the WWE system. He's not where he could have been or could have been with other people behind him. He's just, there's something there with him, but he keeps getting kind of relegated to the background. And now he's just like, I'm gonna get stoned and be a shaman on TV. And everyone's just like, you do you, buddy. That's your gimmick now. I don't know. I can't compare Tyler Bate to Nick Wayne because I feel like A, the presentations are very different, and B, yes, I would consider Tyler Bate to be a master. Yes, that was my whole joke when he joined Chase U. But B, with Tyler Bate, he was walking in to find a character. Nick Wayne was walking in to be a wrestler who is the son of a wrestler. And that's not a knock on Wayne. That's just more, that was a presentation thing. So with Nick Wayne, I think it's, I don't want people to hear this the wrong way. I think it's easier for him to walk in, basically having been the wrestler and the character that he's been for the last 4 years on the indies, but now in a bigger stage than someone like Tyler Bate, who came in as Mr. Wrestler, young boy, and hasn't found the character on screen in WWE world that fits what he is. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does make sense. And again, I feel a little bad that I'm like using this compare. I don't even want to compare how the company is booking them and how they might book them moving forward. I'm trying to compare the argument or the logic or the reactionary take of Nick Wayne losing his first match and acting like this is the worst thing in the world. That's largely what I'm looking at. Because if you had taken Tyler Bate 5 years ago and the reaction was, this guy is going to be WrestleMania level worthy in 5 years from now, he's going to be he's easily going to be in this position, that position, whatever. It's like, he's not. Why? There's different stuff that has happened. Nick Wayne, certainly different stuff could happen to him. Who knows how his career trajectory is going to go. My whole point is his career trajectory ain't changing all that much just because he lost his first match to Swerve Strickland. What happened in that match ain't going to define who he is 5 years from now, unless he's facing Swerve Strickland in the main event of AEW Double or Nothing for the world title. And then people are like, hey, remember in Nick Wayne's first match, he lost to Swerve? In which case, they've done a hell of a job with both Nick Wayne and Swerve. And we're going to look back at that match, the match on Wednesday then, and be like, wow, they actually really did something special in that match. Otherwise, whatever happens to Nick Wayne, it ain't based off of what happened on Wednesday.
And that's part of the problem, if you will, of being people like us who are tasked with reacting to these events in real time, right? We are not privy to the story itself and where it's going. We can only react to what we're seeing or to how other people are seeing the story. And some have, again, that's kind of the beauty and the beast of professional wrestling, is that some people have a view that is just inherently negative towards what's going on in the moment, or they just see it differently from how other people see it. Maybe it's not negative, but they just, again, the visions are different. And for me, like you, Nick Wayne dropping that first match wasn't a burial. It wasn't a bad thing. It was actually, to me, a very good thing, because Swerve made him look like $1 million. There was respect on both sides. You continued, you got a story out of it. There's going to be so much more out of Nick Wayne in AEW. And I'll just to bring it back to last night on Impact, they gave Jody Threat her first loss, which, by the way, we got the scoop for that match. We asked Jody, well, who do you want? She said Deanna. She got Deanna last night, and Jody Threat was dished out her first loss in Impact. But guess what happened? They had a very good match. They shook hands at the end, and both women looked great, even with Jody losing the match. And now Jody can taste defeat in Impact and move forward. Nick Wayne can do the exact same thing in AEW, and it's going to be a good thing for him, because now he starts the real journey. You toss him in the deep end, he realizes, okay, I can swim, but I can't necessarily get out of the pool without the ladder. I can't climb. I gotta, I gotta get out by using the ladder. I can't just jump out like other people. I gotta take a minute. So now you got Nick Wayne and like a whole slew of opportunities for him. And Swerve is going to be Swerve. Swerve is going to go off and do whatever he's going to do, and then they will revisit each other. If you don't think that Swerve and Nick Wayne are going to be married to each other throughout the bulk of their AEW careers, then I don't know what to tell you, because they've already been that way on the indies, and they already show magic, and they already work together, and they already do real good stuff together. I don't see why you wouldn't keep going. So that, paired with Darby, paired with Sting, paired with Mogul Embassy, you have so many people to surround Nick Wayne with in the ring and out. That's going to make his career his career trajectory a positive one, a good one, as long as, as long as the right things happen, as long as he's injury free, as long as, everyone does their thing, plays their part, and is a team player. That's how I feel. Maybe if they played more vignettes for Nick Wayne, he would have been more popular with people.
They built him up, these vignettes, Joel.
They built him up too much. You're right.
How could he lose his first match? Now he's just treated like a dork because, wow, they tried to tell you who is important, but he lost to Swerve. Never really heard of Swerve. Did he have vignettes to being built up to this? Is it okay to lose to Swerve? Is that fine?
No, you can't lose to Swerve. You're not allowed to.
You didn't friggin' lose to, I don't know, Tony Nese. No offense to Tony Nese, but like, you didn't lose to Tony Nese or anything. That I would have had an issue with. It's the dumb Kenny Omega, Allen Angels, why are you going 15 minutes with this guy argument? Did that hurt Kenny Omega's career at all? I feel like he's doing okay. It's just stupid. It's from people who should be better, and from people who have influence in this line of work that are disingenuous with their comments. At least I feel they are. And it's frustrating to me.
I'm telling you, man, I'm just going to start making Dynamite recap videos, but it's just going to be in the form of like promotional videos for the next episode of Dynamite.
Just everybody stop tweeting. If you put these thoughts on a podcast that I won't listen to unless you're interviewing a wrestler, and then I'll have to hear it, and then I won't realize how disingenuous you are with your actual comments. So just stop tweeting, everybody.
Yeah, start threading, because odds are no one's going to see you there either. Because
I heard that place is going the way
it exists. Going. It does exist. Go Blue Sky it. Go.
I thought that was going to be okay, but it seems like it's not.
Well, it's still Country Club. We still need invites to get in there, which I did, and I have it, and I rule.
Does anybody need an invite? I got at least one. DM me. I'll send you an invite.
Did you just check?
Yeah. No, I had 3. I gave one to the wife. I gave one to my pal Jeremy Thomas from 411 Mania, and then I know I have another one left over. So DM me, I'll send it to you.
Let's all go back to Hive. Remember when that was a thing?
No.
Yeah, it lasted like 3 weeks, and then people realized that 19-year-olds who got bored during the pandemic and made a social media outlet is probably not going to survive, and that's because there's no space for it.
I don't know if I was actually like on Hive. I'm sure I may have signed up. Mastodon was the one that I'm like, absolutely not. This seems dumb as hell.
Tried to sign up, and I was like, nope, there's too much going on here. We're out of here.
Yeah, that seemed really stupid. So I was like, I'm not doing that at all. Like,
go ahead.
I signed up for Threads, but there's no desktop app. It seems very just not great. I'm using Twitter until the wheels fall off, everybody. And they're falling off. Like they're barely hanging on at this point. I got TweetDeck that I can't tweet from, but I can at least stay up to date with the news, which is helpful. Yeah, it's something. Let's ban social media like AEW's banning moves.
Thank you. I was waiting to do the ban so that we could transition to the banned moves. Fightful Select reported yesterday, and it was such a hot button topic that Sean had to do a live stream.
I saw that. I was like, what is going on here?
I mean, listen, we give Sean a lot of shit here, but at the same time, I thought that was probably the right way to do it, because there were going to be a lot of people reacting a certain way. And I saw some of the comments people were making about this entire gimmick about banning moves and banning weapons and stuff. And some of the takes were as expected. Oh my God, my favorite company is dead. What happened? You didn't read it because you probably found an aggregated version of a 2-sentence tweet and you didn't listen. You didn't read it. You don't know what's going on. So, Jeremy, let's talk about it. Is AEW dead? Are we banning AEW next?
They're dead because they didn't run a video package for this banned moves list. That's what they need to do, Joel. On Dynamite or Collision needs to open with a video package that says we care about the safety of our AEW performers. As such, you will see less Tiger Driver 91s, less tombstones of this variety, less apron spots. So that way the audience is clued in on everything that is banned. That's the only way I feel that this will work for everybody. Less high risk moves and dives and things. We need the video package on this. No, it's good. It's much better for the company, because one thing that gets lost in AEW is that the moves just don't stand out a lot, because everybody can just do a lot of cool stuff, which is great, and it makes for fun matches. I'm like, oh, cool. I just saw that spot 5 minutes ago. Oh, why is it now just as interesting here? They've needed this for a long time. I'm not fully talking about like banning stuff, but just like just getting on the same page on communication of like what's actually going to go into the moves and everything. So I think it's good. I think it's good that they're finally implementing a little bit of this and just getting people on the same page with agents and producers and stuff of what you're actually going to do in the matches. I don't think it's going to change much of anything. Honestly, I truly don't think you're going to notice this big shift of difference when it comes to AEW, especially in like the higher level matches. John Moxley's still going to bleed. All right, Kenny Omega's still going to do like cool looking stuff. But Kingo is still going to do cool looking stuff. You're still going to have your tables and your tacks and all of the stuff of whatever that you do in the hardcore matches. I think you just might see less of it in matches that didn't need it in the first place.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, is that there has been a lack or a seemingly lacking of communication between the coaches or the producers and the truck, and just everyone needs to be on the same page when you're producing a wrestling show, especially when you're producing a televised wrestling show. All I've wanted to see since AEW, started building steam was that everyone is in sync and everyone is doing what basically this document is saying. And that is that we're talking. And that is that the same finish is not going to be in the same match, or the same false finish is going to be in this match, and then that same false finish from this match is going to be the actual finish of the next match. Like, you can't do that. Wrestling is very much an art form in that way, that there are ways to put together matches and ways to put together stories that you can't duplicate them in other matches and basically undercut what could be in a later match. This document it's a safety it's a safety hub. It's an opportunity for them to say, hey, these are the type of things that we look out for and that we need to approve before we actually let our wrestlers go out there and try to do these stunts. Once they're out there and they've been given permission, it's because we trust them and they trust that they can do these safely. We're going to take every opportunity that we can to make sure that the wrestlers or the talent involved are doing this safely. Things like, no table, ladder, or chair spots in and out of the ring, only allowed with padding. That feels to me like you can't rip the padding off the bottom or the outside and then do a table spot, because that just looks stupid now. In 2023, I get that you think it's impactful, but it also just kind of makes you look like an asshole. It just makes like you're trying to make a bigger spot out of something that's already a big spot. If you're diving off a ladder through a table, what's it going to matter if there's padding on the floor? At the bottom? That's okay. The gym mats are only about 1.5 inches thick to begin with, so you'll be okay if you just leave the mats there. There are little things that just need to be talked about. WWE had a problem for a long time of the barricade spot, where everyone and their mother was doing the barricade spot, and it felt like nobody was talking in the back about who gets the barricade spot, who gets to break the announce table was a big question of the hour when you got to WWE as well. Who gets to break it? It's always the main event. But if the main event's not going to break it, then we're going to give it to this match. And that's just the way it goes, because you can only set up that table so many times, just like you can only set up a big spot in a match or on a pay-per-view so many times, that if you do it too many times, it completely kills the vibe of the match or the show that you're trying to put on. For that, this document is just really useful, and it needs to be there. And then from a health and safety standpoint, things like the concussion protocol, or at least the no fake seizuring stuff. You and I talked about that. It felt like in the case of Bryan Danielson at Forbidden Door, that may have been his way to get the doctors over to him to say, hey, my arm's messed up. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if Bryan was like, we're not going to do that again. Okay, let's just nix that.
Yeah,
put it on the document.
Danielson's reading this document, and he's the I forget the name of the show. He's in the hot dog outfit. We're all trying to find the guy who got this Caesar spot banned here.
Exactly. And so for him, I wouldn't be surprised if he and a lot of wrestlers had a lot of say in this. But like you said, things are largely not going to change. You're still going to see Jericho and Sting walk out with the bat. You're still going to see table spots. You're still going to see big moments. Blood and Guts is still going to be Blood and Guts. You're still going to see all those things, because guess what? They're going to let them do this because they trust that it will make for a story, and they trust that it will make for a better production all around. And that's okay. That being said, don't spit on people. Okay. Just don't spit on people.
Just cut out the Canadian destroyers in every single match. That's what I take umbrage.
No Canadian destroyers, no code reds, no code blues, whatever you call them.
This is my why I like this is because we talked about the Tiger Driver 91, right? Like we talked about that, and my argument is, okay, was it done to in a way to add to the match? I thought it was. My argument was also like, I'm gonna trust Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay to do this stuff, and they did it. They performed it. Omega's wrestling again. Seems fine. Everything's good. Long-term effects are going to be sort of long-term effects. Kenny Omega's style, Will Ospreay's style are going to have long-term effects in and of itself. So when you do spots like that, my always go-to is like, did this enhance the match? Was this worthwhile for this match? For that particular match, yes. It was like, yeah, that's a cool match. This is why, but I don't need to see this on the opening bout of your scramble indie or whatever. Like, I don't need that. That ain't enhancing that. But I feel that way about a lot of this stuff when it comes to AEW matches. Dustin Rhodes is, double or nothing upset me. He's like, Dustin Rhodes is doing the Destroyer, and then Jericho's doing the Destroyer, and Cole is, of course, doing it. It's like, everybody's just doing a destroyer. Does this add anything to it? Jericho certainly, his didn't look good. When Dustin does it, I'm just like, it just feels like he's doing it to just like show that he can do it at his age and pop the crowd, but it doesn't look good. And then like other people do it and it looks a lot better. But all right, I've already seen this 50-year-old, 60-year-old man do it. Great that you can do it when you're 25. I hope so. This 60-year-old can do it. So if it doesn't enhance the match, I don't have a lot of time for a lot of these spots. And I hope that's what it cuts down on is hey, you're going to go out here and do this. It looks cool, but someone else later in the night might do it. It might make it look a lot better. And theirs will lose some impact because they've already seen it from someone who is older and who maybe didn't look quite as good. So just cut down on stuff like that. And now I think hopefully that's what this will overall do. I don't think you're going to see this big change in AEW though.
I blame Dustin Rhodes doing the destroyer. I blame it on one man, Ricky Morton.
Ricky Morton, yeah, that's
Ricky
fair.
Morton at 66 was just like, I can do it. And then he started doing it. And now Ricky Morton does it in every match that he has because he wants to show that he can do it. Dustin Rhodes doesn't need to do it. Sky Blue is part of her repertoire.
Yeah, fine. Like,
does it need to be?
But what's that?
Does it need to be? Does it need to be part of the Lucha Bros repertoire? I don't know. That's what that you have to figure out why it's important to which wrestler, or someone needs to basically advocate for their use of the spot.
If somebody mentioned Bonkers, Nova Kingo, same spots every time and same place. So this is part of the argument of if there's a Vikingo match later on. I'm not saying these guys need to like cut down on what they do, especially if they're super athletic and everything. But like maybe don't do a bunch of like Vikingo-esque looking spots in there because he's probably going to make it look better. And you're kind of lessening the impact of what he does. If you're like the first match, second match, and it's not all that important of a match, no offense, but if it's not, it's Vikingo potentially the main event.
Hold on.
You just don't need to do these spots.
Hold on. What are you talking about? It's literally called the Code Blue. Stop it.
Isn't the code blue is like on the shoulders though, not the
code red. It's the Code Red. It's the same.
Yeah, the Code Red's not a destroyer though.
It's a Canadian destroyer. They're all the same flip power bomb sequence.
Well, this is a flip pile driver is the destroyer.
No, stop it. That's the Panama Sun.
I agree in the overall scheme of things is like you don't need, hey, let's do 2 flip pile driver and flip power bombs on a show. Just do like 1. I agree with you, but King of the North is correct in that she does the Code Red, not the
fucking Ian Riccaboni over here. Fuck Kevin Kelly over here.
Yeah, all see, right? our pal Val Capone. It's a variation. It's a power bomb, which is different than a pile driver.
You're all variations on a theme.
It's different, Joel. You're wrong, as usual.
No, I'm not.
Yes.
Should have asked
incorrect.
To kick your ass when I had the chance.
What are you? Oh, Val or me? Who are you trying to fight?
Oh, you. I should have asked Darren McCarty to kick your ass when I had the chance.
I was willing to fight Darren McCarty.
I don't think that's true.
What are you talking about? I showed up wearing this. You don't think I was ready?
I think you were ready.
I was walking for.
I think you were ready to talk big, but you weren't ready to throw down with D-Mac.
I told you I was ready, and then he was going to throw the gloves, and I was going to go kind of like this, and then he'd get 5 and kicked out of the game. I'd get my 2 minutes in the box. We get an extended power play, and we'll score.
I feel like he's the one. I feel like he's the one who's going to score, and it's going to be shorthanded.
Darren McCarty scored like 2 goals his entire life.
I'm going to bring him back just for this moment.
He scored a hat trick against Patrick Waugh. He mentioned that on the show, so I know it's more than that. But
anyway, they're all the same move. So continue, Jeremy, with your points.
Now, my point is, like, I think it's good. I think it's going to be better for AEW, and I don't think you're going to see that drastic of a change in the product. I really don't.
I don't either, and that's okay. I think it's much ado about nothing in terms of the people throwing up their red flags, their OMGs. You know what? I think on BTE you're going to see one of the Bucks come up with like a list this long to the floor, and they're going to be like, guys, we can't do this one or this one or this one. They're going to reference it too, and it's going to be funny, and I'm going to laugh, which is something I don't always do on BTE because Ryan Nemeth is on the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Shots fired at Ryan Nemeth.
You would have too.
I can't say I've like watched BTE regularly. I apologize to all the elite fans out there, but I don't have time to watch all of this stuff. I listen to the interviews. When they do an interview, I'll do it. But I like their humor. Maybe that's, people are gonna be mad at me for that, but I do like that they like poke fun at stuff and are sometimes petty and just do like bits and stuff. It's enjoyable when I do watch it. I just don't watch it all the time.
Are you saying you're not a BTEer?
Is that a thing? No, I'm a Dynamiteer and a Collider. Yeah.
Are you a belter? Someone in the chat had mentioned that earlier, that they are a belter.
What is belt for Battle of the Belts? I was like, what the hell is a belter? Bless if you're a BTE or a belter, not a BTE. BTEers are fine. Belters, what?
Do you call Rampagers George, Lizzie, and Ralph? Is that what the third one is?
Good reference, by the way.
One of my favorite games ever.
Yeah, that game ruled. Absolutely ruled. The fact that like they haven't done anything like a tie-in with that kind of sucks. They got to get on that.
They do, and you know what? Eventually they will. But Rampage already had a movie come out, and it wasn't very good. So someone needs to release another Rampage game. Because honestly, Rampage 64, that one was okay. I don't know if you could do another one for Switch.
I feel like there's a good nostalgia feel for that game right now, where if it came out, people would be super excited for it.
Does someone have Switch Online? Can you tell me if Rampage is available on Switch Online? Because I want to go play Rampage after this show. I got a million things to do, but I can distract myself by playing Rampage instead. We got a couple shows to preview for tonight before we get off the air, as it were. Unless there's anything else you want to add about the banned moves and the Dynamite stuff in general.
No, I ranted enough. I feel like I've made my point here.
Shout out to Silesia Sparks, Alexia Nicole, Casey Spinelli, and Taylor Rising, who were all part of that Adam Cole and MJF segment at the bar. Wanted to put that out there.
Dude, that stuff rules, by the way. And like, I don't know what their plan was or anything. Like, if they were going to do the turn in the finals, which are this week, to set up the match whenever, they got to keep this partnership going. They got to extend this.
Yeah. I have this weird, like, I go back and forth on that because I saw Trevor Damon mention that on the Twitter. He was like,
I thought I had an original take.
Sorry, you took Trevor's. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He had basically mentioned you got to keep this thing going and let it go longer. And then while they're a tag team, have MJF feud with somebody else. Who that is?
Yeah.
No idea. Could be Roddy. I don't like putting Roddy in a world title program, but if it fits the whole, like, I don't trust this guy, now Adam Cole's got to pick between his two best friends, then that might be fun. Where's Kyle O'Reilly?
I don't know how close Kyle O'Reilly is to a return or anything, but yeah, Cole can just kind of not be by the wayside here, but play in that second position. They could honestly just go after the tag titles. Where they can win this tournament and they could go after the tag titles with FTR. I'm not even opposed, or maybe they face Bullet Club if Bullet Club happens to win the titles tomorrow, which I don't think they will, but they could go there. Maybe this is how you get the MJF CM Punk stuff on track. If MJF and Adam Cole win this tournament, they feud with FTR, CM Punk kind of gets in there. There's already the tie-in of Punk saying he never lost the belt, everything. And Cole is he's there supporting MJF while CM Punk's got his friends, especially if you potentially turn Punk if in the Ricky stuff tomorrow, if he beats up Ricky. So MJF is baby facing right now. So you got a clearly defined heel CM Punk with FTR, and you got a baby facing MJF and Adam Cole. I think there's good money there. There's a good feud there.
The thing is, though, the problem is MJF is not baby facing at all. He's being an over the top, like
rules.
I know, but he's being a caricature of a baby face. Would I like to see Adam Cole get the not basically see the turn coming from a mile away and get ahead of it? Yeah, I'd love to see that. I think that'd be funny. It's not a double turn, but it's more like I knew you were going to try this stuff, so I got me, a title match instead for All Out. Whatever they do, I just don't want to see, Adam Cole look like an idiot at the end by getting turned on.
Yeah, I agree that Adam Cole, because he's been smarter when it comes to this stuff. Like he's kind of up to MJF's tricks and everything. Maybe if you do have it go on and on, you can extend it, or you can buy it more that MJF could just turn on him and Cole not see it coming, because Cole he happens to be, I know you don't want to dumb babyface everybody, but look, Sting made a career out of being a dumb babyface and he's done well for himself. So Cole actually really starts to get.
It finally happened. It happened to me last night during the Impact show, by the way. We're going to see if Jeremy comes back. If it doesn't, then I will preview the rest of the shows by myself. He's very frozen, and it looks great. He looks like he's having an argument with himself. And I'm here too. I'm just going to give you the NPR version, the NPR notes of Jeremy Lambert being very angry, or just very into it. Jeremy, will you come back to us? Jeremy, can you hear me? No, Mr. Jeremy, no. Okay. You know what? If Jeremy comes back, great. Let's just, we'll preview Collision because that's happening tonight. Let's go to AllEliteWrestling.com. Let's bring this up. Okay, this is important stuff. AEW. Oh, he's back. I hear him in the background. Jeremy, talk to me. No, he's gone. Okay. What's going on in Collision tonight? There, he's back.
I can hear you. I cannot see you.
That's fine. I can hear you.
Okay. We just lost power, and so I had to flick over to my hotspot, which it's not great on
Collision is absolutely tonight, by the way. Totally happening tonight.
Yeah, what is wrong with you, Joel?
Friday Night Collision. It's tonight. Game over, man. My brain is just blue screened out.
I can't see you, so I have no idea what your reactions are.
My reaction is laughter. Go ahead, keep talking.
I don't have any. We lost power, and now I have a hotspot that's not very good.
Well, it wasn't so good at all because he just completely lost it. Okay, yeah. Listen, I know that Collision is Saturday. I messed up. Okay, it's been a long day, and it's only 11:59. So Colliders Unite. We'll have a good night. Battle of the Belts is also on Saturday night. SmackDown, really the only announced match is the Women's Championship match, Bianca Belair and Asuka, which I'm sure will lead to a triple threat. And there's tons of stuff on go Colliders, go check the AEW socials. I'm gonna get out of here because you know what? It's been a long morning, and I got a lot of love for y'all. I'm gonna be back on the main channel on Saturday after Slammiversary with Steven Jensen talking about Impact Slammiversary. And of course, all the other stuff is going on. It's only noon. I need to go to bed. It's true. That's what I'm going to do. So go follow us here. Leave a thumbs up on the channel and subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbook because that's going to go a long way. And for Jeremy Lambert and for myself, I am at Joel Pearl, JoeLPEARL. We'll see you in the next one.